my husband called me and said,
Mom had an accident while traveling abroad. She won't be able to come back for a while.
I was so shocked that I froze.
Don't worry. I'll go there right away.
It sounded reasonable, but I was utterly confused because I was at my in-laws' house at the time, and my mother-in-law, Mary, was sitting next to me, drinking tea. She heard the conversation and smirked, signaling me to hang up the call.
I'll make sure he never comes back to America again.
There was a shocking truth behind my husband's strange behavior. I married my husband, Tom, who is 2 years older than me, 3 years ago. I have a gentle personality and enjoy making handmade accessories and small items. However, my husband always looked at my hobby with disdain.
What's so fun about making this trash? It's so trivial and pointless.
He would say, laughing. But when a friend suggested I post pictures of my work on social media, they quickly became very popular. I decided to open an online shop, and my items sold out so quickly that I couldn't keep up with the demand. To my delight, my mother-in-law became a huge fan of my handmade items. Living far away, she would email me every time she saw my work on social media, saying, "That's cute," or "This is lovely." On the other hand, my husband had no interest in handmade items. Instead, he was very trendy and well-informed, always wanting to look stylish and dressed up.
Hey, I'm thinking of buying a new foreign car. Which one do you think is good?
Whenever he hears that a friend has bought a new car, he spreads out a sports car magazine and consults me. You always say that, but you never stick with anything, whether it's guitars, surfing, or skateboarding. I pursed my lips, thinking of the mountain of instruments and gear gathering dust in the storage room.
Come on, it's not like I'm spending beyond my savings.
With that, I had no words to counter, not wanting to take away his enjoyment, so I didn't complain any further. But one day, Tom brought a huge problem to our doorstep. Wanting more money to play with, he borrowed $5,000 from a friend and got caught in an investment scam. His friend was furious and stormed into our house, shouting, "Pay me back right now."
Even if you say that, I don't have any money left. Catherine, help me.
Caught between Tom's angry friend and my pleading husband, I had no choice. I handed over the money I had painstakingly earned from my online shop to repay his debt.
Wow, you made quite a bit of money with those little trinkets, didn't you?
This is no time to be impressed. Tom, please learn from this and don't do anything reckless again. With a sigh, my husband made a suggestion.
I've learned my lesson from this. So, I have an idea.
What is it?
Why don't we create a joint account and save money for our future? We might have kids, and we'll need money for their education.
I did want children, so we decided to put half of our income into a joint account for savings.
I'll keep the passbook. I can't wait to see the balance grow.
From then on, Tom would often look at the passbook and nod with satisfaction. He would smirk again. Was he imagining a bright future as the money grew steadily? I thought he was managing the account responsibly. At least, until that moment. One day, after we had started saving, I received a call from my mother-in-law.
I have something to talk about. Can you come over? Let's chat over some tea.
Sure, I'd love to. I quickly agreed and decided to visit my in-laws' house while my husband was at work. My mother-in-law's house is an hour's drive from ours, so we don't see each other often. However, She has a bright and straightforward personality, making her very enjoyable to talk to. I admired her and wanted to age gracefully like her. That afternoon, she welcomed me warmly into her home. As we were having tea and snacks, she suddenly whispered to me,
Tom will probably call soon, but don't let him know I'm here.
"What do you mean?" I tilted my head in confusion, but she just smiled silently and changed the subject back to small talk. Then, my phone rang, and my husband's name appeared on the screen. It was really Tom calling. What could he want? I looked at my mother-in-law, who smiled and put her finger to her lips, signaling me to stay quiet. I nodded and answered the call as usual.
Catherine? Where are you right now?
Just doing some shopping. What's up?
Something terrible has happened. Please stay calm and listen.
Tom lowered his voice and spoke seriously, taking a deep breath.
Mom had an accident while traveling abroad. She won't be able to come back for a while.
What? Is that true?
Yes, I'm heading overseas right away. I'll manage with the clothes I have there, but I'm really worried about Mom.
I blinked in surprise and looked at my mother-in-law sitting next to me. Then why is she here? Seeing my confusion, my mother-in-law smirked. She gestured for me to hang up the phone without saying a word, so I pretended to understand and ended the call.
I knew it. I'll make sure he never comes back to America again.
Wait, what? What does this mean, Mary? When I tugged on her sleeve, she finally explained the whole situation to me. The day before, my mother-in-law had received a mysterious message from her son. It read, "Are you ready to head overseas tomorrow night? We're going to invest in a local casino and make a fortune. I'll tell my wife that Mom had an accident so I can go abroad without any issues." It seemed he had sent it to the wrong person, and realizing his mistake, he quickly deleted the message. However, my mother-in-law had already read it and sensed something was off. She took a screenshot of the message just in case. Thanks to her, I was able to see his suspicious message. Investing in an overseas casino is dubious at best and often a scam. I told him to stop doing such things, but he hasn't learned his lesson at all. I couldn't help but hold my head in my hands. Moreover, upon closer inspection, the message contained something even more alarming at the end. What is he thinking? This is unforgivable.
This is too much. Catherine, I'm really sorry for my foolish son. I'll help you. Let's teach him a lesson together.
And so, I teamed up with my mother-in-law to get back at my husband. We hurried back to my house and started searching through Tom's study. We found plenty of evidence of his misdeeds. As I watched them, I gradually became more and more angry until I exploded with rage. I've had enough. I'm going to corner him completely.
In that case, I have a little idea.
She shared her plan with a mischievous smile, like a child who had thought of a prank. That might work, I said, smiling at her good idea. I waited until my husband was overseas and then withdrew all the money from our joint account at the ATM. Now he can't withdraw any money. He won't have any funds to invest in his shady business. He must be in quite a predicament with no money over there. Additionally, I contacted the credit card company and suspended the family card. When my handmade business started to take off, Tom said,
I want the credit card sign-up points. I'll buy a ukulele with the points.
And made a family card in my name. Since then, he had been using the family card exclusively, and the bills were coming to me. Now was the perfect time to stop the credit card. Until this day, I had been warning him about his reckless card usage, but it was finally time to take action. After waiting for about 15 minutes, Tom called me repeatedly. When I ignored the calls, he sent a flood of messages saying, "The card has been stopped, and I can't stay at the hotel. Help me, and I can't withdraw any money. What should I do?" However, my mother-in-law didn't seem to care at all.
It's almost dinner time. Shall we order some sushi?
Oh, I have some good Japanese sake. It was a gift. My mother-in-law and I happily prepared the sake and enjoyed our meal while watching a drama together. The next day, my husband hurriedly returned to America. When he came home, he looked exhausted and disheveled. My mother-in-law and I greeted him with a nonchalant welcome back.
Why is Mom here?
Tom was so shocked to see his mother that he almost fell over. It's strange, isn't it? Your mom was supposed to have had an accident overseas. I interjected.
Well, that might have been a misunderstanding.
He laughed awkwardly, left his luggage in the hallway, and casually sat down on the living room sofa to relax. Enough with the nonsense. I chased after my husband, cornering Tom as he tried to brush off the situation. Did you really think you could fool me with just one phone call?
You and Mom never see each other. Since when did you two get so close?
He retorted, glaring at me while clearly intimidated by my anger. Mary is my biggest supporter on social media. We email each other regularly. I know all about the message you mistakenly sent.
Wait a minute. So you knew from the start?
Realizing that my mother-in-law and I had become close, my husband ground his teeth in frustration.
So it was you, Catherine, who stopped the bank account and credit card. Because of you, I had to spend the night at a 24-hour fast food place.
I was planning to make sure you could never return to America. I replied in a low voice. I must have looked terrifying because my husband turned pale as if he had seen a ghost. Then, to drive the point home, I laid out the evidence my mother-in-law and I had gathered on the table in front of the sofa. There were printed copies of the mistaken message he sent to his mother and the fraudulent investment contracts. I told you, didn't I? Stop doing these things without consulting me.
But I heard that investing in overseas casinos would be profitable. It was for our future.
I looked at my husband, who was nervously laughing, with a cold stare. Then, can you explain this? The next piece of evidence I presented was the transaction statement from our joint account. He had transferred $50,000 to an overseas account without my permission. I took out the screenshot of the message my mother-in-law had prepared again. At the end of the message, it said, "We have money saved under the guise of education funds. This will make us a fortune." Tom had used our important savings as investment funds. Weren't we supposed to save this money for our children? We agreed to work together for our family's future. And you used it for some shady business without telling me. This is unforgivable. Moreover, when I checked the deposit history, I found that I was the only one putting money into the account. He had been deceiving me and using the money, without contributing any of his own earnings. There are also unknown expenses on your credit card. What I pulled out next was my husband's personal credit card statement, which I found in his guitar case. Not only had he been using the family card without permission, but he had also been spending recklessly on his own card. Look at the balance. We'll never save enough for education funds at this rate. You're spending money like water. I slapped the joint account transaction history, which I had printed the night before, and thrust it under Tom's nose.
What? I was expecting the profits from the investment to be deposited first thing this morning.
He snatched the account documents from my hand and scrutinized the balance. The account balance hasn't increased at all. You've been scammed. It's an investment fraud.
No, that can't be. They said if I transferred the money, it would come back fivefold.
There's no such thing as a deal that good. Tom stared at the balance history, trembling. I was completely fed up, and any remaining affection I had for him vanished. I quietly placed the divorce papers, which I had prepared the day before, on the table. I had already signed them. I'm divorcing you. I don't need a husband who ignores my warnings and betrays his wife so easily.
Wait, you can't be serious.
Realizing he had fallen victim to an investment scam and was about to lose his wife, my husband began to cry. He collapsed from the sofa onto the floor.
Please, don't divorce me. I was wrong. I won't do it again. I promise.
No, I won't forgive you. I'm completely done with you. And I want the money you took from our joint account back. I looked down at my husband, who was curled up on the floor, with contempt. At that moment, my mother-in-law delivered the final blow.
I'm cutting ties with you as well.
What? Why?
Of course. You used my name and pretended I had an accident overseas. You deceived dear Catherine and behaved in the most despicable way. You're no longer my son.
Tom's mouth hung open as he looked back and forth between me and his mother in shock. Now, please sign these divorce papers.
Can't we start over?
Sweating profusely and pale-faced, my husband pleaded with me. No, we can't. I gave him a bright, final smile.
Tom, if you don't sign here, you're not a man. Do you understand?
In a daze, my husband, faced with my smile and my mother-in-law's stern words, signed the divorce papers while crying. I'll submit these. I collected the signed documents, quickly packed my belongings, and left the house. Feeling no regrets, I high-fived my mother-in-law. After that, I sued my husband and made him repay the money he had taken from our joint account. However, the only lenders willing to give him money were shady loan sharks, and he couldn't keep up with the repayments, leading to his bankruptcy. He lost his house and the brand new foreign car he had bought just to show off. Now, Tom is reportedly living from one internet cafe to another. On the other hand, I returned to my parents' house and continued my online shop there. My creations are still incredibly popular, selling out as soon as they're made. I'm so busy that my mother has to help me with production, which is a happy problem to have. Of course, I still keep in touch with my mother-in-law on social media, and we frequently make plans to go out for tea together. My childhood home is very comfortable, and I'm planning to use the money I've earned to give my parents a cruise dinner for their wedding anniversary. I'm also planning to give my mother-in-law a gift soon.
How did you like this story? Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.